Would you look at this? The 325 is off the lift. It's got a drive line back in it. It's got a parking brake that works. It's got a top that works and a glove box and a trunk lid that work too. And it drives great. So tomorrow we'll do a PDI or pre-delivery inspection and get this thing back to the customer here as soon as Friday. Speaking of Friday, the M3 is being picked up Friday. So tomorrow we'll be doing a service and review video on this car out front. It's kind of an advertising piece, if I'm honest. It shows that we do work on the E9X M3 platform and like this car and platform and want to continue to offer service for it. Let's talk about an M62 here for a minute. This is the one that showed up. It was an eBay motor supplied by a customer, showed up with a busted valve cover and upper timing cover. Engine won't rotate by hand. Pulled the other valve cover today and didn't see anything there. Pulled the timing covers, got a good look inside the chain drive here. Everything looks real clean, not much varnish. Whoever was responsible for maintaining and servicing this engine did a commendable job when it comes to basic maintenance, oil change intervals, things like that. Looks really good in here. A little bit of varnish, just to be expected for 128,000 miles, but we've certainly seen a lot worse on even lower mileage engines. So moving on from the chain drive, we don't see any problems there. Then it's time to pull the oil pan and the upper oil pan and get a look at the crankshaft and the piston rods and pistons. And let me turn the light on so we can peek around. Okay, so we look in here, we see a heat-treated crankshaft. Looks great. All the piston rods look great. Cylinder linings look great. Can get a better look at whatever cylinder that one is there. I don't see anything wrong with this engine that would prohibit it from rotating beyond a few degrees. But we did notice that it is slightly out of time. I don't know if that happened during whatever incident caused the damage to the engine. A good knock on an engine shouldn't knock it out of time. But it is out of time, which means it's possible that we have valves meeting pistons. I don't think it's been run like that. I think that may be the reason why it's not rotating now. So we've ordered an endoscope online that'll be here tomorrow, which will allow us to kind of get a look inside the ports here and check our piston valve clearance, or go down and look at the top of the pistons and more detail on the cylinder liners. But we do intend on figuring it out. I'm waiting to hear from the customer just in regards to how much he wants to proceed with this engine and determining if it is viable for his project. Looks super weird to see an engine upside down like this, but my goodness, is it a pleasure to work on an engine on a stand. We put a piece of wood in there just so we don't risk, I don't really like this. We had to use this starter bore as a mounting position to take the lower pan off, or the upper pan rather, because originally we had it threaded into the oil pan. So just to take off the majority of the stress, we've got ourselves a good old two buffer in there. But I'm able to vastly reduce the labor charges for him, seeing that we got those timing covers off and these oil pans off in less than 2 hours. And this would have been like 8 hours on the car to remove all the accessories and have to use socket extensions and swivels and U-joints and all these things to get in there. And here you could just sit and have tons of room and bring a service cart right up next to you. There's something to be said for this. Maybe we're going to be building engines in here soon. This is freaking awesome. The only kind of anomaly that we saw in here, I gotta know where to even, it's going to be through the intake ports, which are way under there, but valves had a little bit of corrosion on them. It looks like just surface level. I'm wondering if this engine was stored outside or in a humid environment for a moderate period of time after it was removed from the car. Just spraying it with brake clean and taking a Q-tip to it removes it. So I don't think we really have anything to worry about. But if we do find that with the endoscope we've got some interference in there, probably going to have to pull the cylinder heads to further inspect, which at this point is really easy. We'll need to take the sprockets off the front of the cams, take those chains off, the Venice adjustment units off, and then it's 10 head bolts per cylinder head. The head gaskets are readily available and relatively expensive in addition to the head bolts. That would be the first cylinder head that we've pulled in here with intent of reinstalling. I did disassemble an S62 in here years ago, but with it like this, we could have those heads off in an hour. Chain guides are all dated 2001, so they're original to this motor out of a 750, or 740 was the donor vehicle. There's no broken tabs yet, but I can tell that this plastic is all really, really brittle. And if we were to start, like if you were to remove this idler guide here, guarantee this little tab right here would snap off. And if you were to pull this or flex this U-guide too much, it would certainly break too. So as I wait for customer approval, we're gonna get some plastic over this sucker, protect it, and decide how to proceed soon. Today I worked on the multi-point inspection for the 2003 Slate Green M-Tech. Got through all of that, doing that myself with a lot of interruptions and distractions today. Took a really long time, but it is done and delivered to the customer. So now we'll be developing a service plan that fits with his budget and priorities and all that fun stuff. And the gentleman drove the car all the way down from Northern California, so I do think he has intent on having us do some more major type service. So I'm excited to do that. This is a really, really perfect candidate car to invest a bit of resources in. It's a rare car. It's clean. It has good ownership history, good service history, a good body on it, though it is overdue for some suspension and engine attention. We've got quite a few leaks under that hood. Mickey's little hand is at the 10, so it's time for Ryan to go home, get some dinner. I'm feeling an in-and-out night. I haven't had that in a few weeks. And crash on the couch for a bit, get some sleep, and come back in here and do it again tomorrow.